Going to start with the Miami Heat and John's Boston Celtics. Obviously, first game in Miami. A little bit of a bubble rematch from a couple of years ago. So the people that said that the bubble didn't matter, well, these two teams are right back in it. So excuse is kind of gone. Nonetheless, how are you feeling? What are your thoughts on this series?
I'm feeling good, but I am nervous. I think that the general public is underrating Miami quite a bit. The Celtics, I think, are already favored to win the series, which I don't necessarily disagree with that. But I've just seen a lot of people have really said that, okay, well, whoever wins this series is going to beat Miami and go to the finals. Not quite ready to 100% say that that's the case. When we compare Miami to the two teams that Boston has faced so far, Eric Spoelstra is a far better coach than Steve Nash and a much better coach than Mike Budenholzer. And we've seen that in the past. Brad Stevens versus Eric Spoelstra matchups were always great, but Eric Spoelstra, he's a magician. He has some great adjustments. Some of these other teams haven't necessarily adjusted much to what Boston has done in the playoffs so far. Eric Spoelstra will adjust every single game, and he will do it multiple times. And he's going to throw stuff out there, and if it works, he's going to run with it. And if it doesn't, he's going to change again. So that means we're going to see zone defense. We're going to see man defense. We're going to see a variety of matchups. PJ Tucker, Jimmy Butler, all these different guys guarding Tatum and Brown. He's going to just do stuff, and it's going to be tough for the Celtics because they have not faced that level of adjustment yet. Also, they're facing Bam Adebayo, who presents a very unique challenge from anybody they faced so far. With Brooklyn, you didn't really have any true big man. Against the Bucks, Giannis is not really like a true center. Like, he's just very different. He's not going to bully you in the post by any means. So you just play him a little differently. Obviously, I mean, he's dominant inside, but he's different, right? To where Bam, he's going to be very heavily involved in pick and roll action as the screener. He's going to be very heavily involved in, post up stuff and different passing things and screens on the outside for shooters that they're going to run around and just pull it immediately. There's just going to be a lot of different things that Boston has not yet faced in, the first two rounds, but the same goes for Miami. They played Atlanta, who's honestly kind of a cupcake team, not really a great defense, only a couple good players on offense. And then they played Philadelphia. They didn't have Embiid for a couple of games. Harden didn't really show up. It was kind of just Tyrese Maxey and Embiid, who was injured for half the series. So they haven't faced a team who has the same level of intensity, the same level of experience, the same level of defensive prowess as Boston. So I think this is going to be a really interesting series. We're going to have to see how Ime Udoka responds to what Eric Spoelstra is going to throw at him. And we're going to have to see if Miami is, warmed up for a throwback series. It's going to be physical. And Miami, we know that they can play that way, but they haven't yet in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to say Celtics in 6. I think they're going to win. Wouldn't be shocked if it goes 7. Wouldn't be shocked if Miami won this, but I just think that the Celtics are just riding such a high, so much momentum. I think they can absolutely steal game 1. I know that some people want to talk about, okay, well, the 7-game series is a hamper for Boston because they're going to be a little bit more tired. There's also the other side of that argument that is, if you haven't played in a couple of days and you've just been sitting, waiting, you could get a little bit rusty. I wouldn't be shocked if we see that from Miami, maybe Tyler Hero or, some of their shooters aren't necessarily hitting the same way to where Boston, it's very warm, good to go. So yeah, I'm going to say Boston wins in 6, but I could see it going either way.
I actually think this series can go 7. Picking Boston, just have a few more playmakers in regards to Heat, where I'm only confident in Jimmy Butler at this point. Don't know the status of Kyle Lowry.
He's already out for game 1.
Yeah, so even if he comes back, like, are you getting 100% Kyle Lowry? Probably not. And then Oladipo's been meh. He hasn't been that great defensively. Bam has had a history of being, in and out. I mean, he's been solid, always solid defensively, but I'm mainly concerned offensively. And then Heroes, we saw last year, he's had some struggles and, at times kind of played off the court because he's not a great defender either. And not that Boston doesn't have its own deficiencies. Derek White has not been great from 3. So I can easily see, Miami making him beat them. Kind of like how the Bucks tried to do that with Grant Williams, but Grant Williams actually made his shots. Yeah, it's a tough one, but I just think Boston's on this revenge tour.
The last 3 playoffs in last year, they lost to the Nets in round 1. Jaylen Brown was out, but they lost to the Nets in round 1. The year before that, which I believe was the bubble year, they lost to the Heat in the conference finals. And then the year before that, they lost to the Bucks in the second round.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, revenge tour going on for Boston right now. And yeah, I'm with it. I'm obviously, a little bit pro Spurs. Ime Udoka, I think he's been really well. But yeah, I am ambitious to see mainly, obviously, new coach, a few new players, but how will, I guess, mainly your stars, Tatum, Brown, and you can say throw Marcus in. How do they have they learned from the bubble when the zone gave them trouble? Which
Right.
did mean a rhyme there. And I think they can, and I think that they'll have the answers. A little bit better of a team. Al Horford may not be as good as he was then, but he's not far off. And
Well, they didn't have Al Horford when they played him in the
in the
bubble.
bubble, I forget.
That's one key that I think a lot of people are talking about in the series. The last time they played them, Bam destroyed Daniel Tice.
Yeah,
Now you got Robert Williams, who's developed, and you got Al Horford. So it's a different ball game down there.
It is a little different, and Miami has had its issues of closing games out, especially offensively. It's like it kind of like reminds me of the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm not saying they are; they're a much better team than that old Memphis team, but the grit and grind team. Where like if they were behind, I was like, I don't think Memphis is going to win this game. They're more of a we need to protect a lead, where they're better at doing that. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, between these two teams, we both going Boston there.
Who's going to win it? The Celtics. Because there's no other reason why. The Celtics are the balls.